Everybody, it's Lear from Leroy Gaming, bringing you my Graveborn Spellshot Vampire Pixie King build. Now this build is all about your pixies and dark magic. It's about keeping you nice and healthy through life leech and doing insane damage. If you're looking for pixies that are going to be hitting for 100, 150k, 200k, 250k, or even 300k or more, then this is the build for you. Now, as of all my videos, I'm going to provide you all the information you need for building this up. Now, unlike my other videos, you'll notice I have a slightly new format I'm testing out. I'm going to have footage of a run going in the background so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on while also absorbing the information you need. This should help make these videos more succinct. If you like this new, more succinct version of my guides, do leave a comment below. Let me know. If you hate it, leave a comment below and let me know. I'm trying to test a couple of new things out to make better guides for you moving forward. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump on in and take a look at everything you need to build your very own Vampire Pixie King. Hey everybody, Leroy here with a very important addendum to this video. Now, unfortunately, last night at the 11th hour when I had finished making this video, I got some unfortunate news. So basically, long story short, the piece of armor that I initially used in this build out was a piece of armor that was given to me by one of my viewers, as it was a bit of an upgrade from the piece that I was using originally. Now, unfortunately, that armor I'm showing on screen right now, this I found out just now isn't a legit piece of gear. So everything about it is technically legit, except for the fact that the Spellshot power should not be able to roll on it. So what I basically had to do, since I had erased my old armor, I was able to replace it with a different piece of armor that actually, after testing, performs really, really well. The big difference with this new armor that you're seeing on screen here is that you're gonna basically have to rely more on your number of companions to get your buffs up. So you're gonna want to, when you wanna kind of get the highest burst DPS in those big numbers, you're gonna need to make sure that you spam your Hydra companions of your off weapon a little bit more. The content that you're gonna see as far as the backgrounds is using the original armor. The gameplay style does not change. In a couple areas of this video where we talk about the skills, I've made a little notations when it comes to the extra bonus skills from equipment. And when we talk about the synergy portion, I did re-record that, so I showed the stats based off of the new armor and discussed the changes there. So again, sorry about any of the confusion. Again, it is not going to make a huge difference in the gameplay style outside of the kind of necessity to spam your companions a little bit more. So with that being said, I'll get back to the video. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, let's go ahead and start with hero points. I chose the Pack Rat archetype. And then for me, I maxed out strength. And then I did an even split between intelligence and attunement. Do note my number is going to be different because I maxed level and I have a bunch of mythic ranks. But that was my split. You can actually push your DPS even more if you want to pump your wisdom. That is up to you. Some people like pumping dex, but I felt like my crit was high enough once I was geared, so I wasn't too concerned about that. But those are your variables for the hero points. All right, next guys, for the action skill choice, we are going to be using Reaper of Bones. Main reason for this is it is going to provide us with a nice bonus dark magic damage buff, as well as leech efficiency buff for keeping ourselves nice and healed up. But the main reason for this is it's going to be a way to effectively long-term use the enchants that are named while action skill is active. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is currently kind of bugged, and these will last a flat 60 seconds. That is not how it's supposed to work. However, the irony here is that our build will allow us to stay in Reaper of Bones for more than 60 seconds at a time. So even when this is fixed, this will be just as good, if not better. Now, I'm going to go over quickly here where I allocate my points overall. I do fill out Demi Lich first. And so we're going to go 3 out of 3 on Faithful Thralls. And we're going to get 2 out of 5 in Essence Drain. we're going to be picking up 3 out of 3 in Harvest. We're going to pick up 5 out of 5 Dark Pact, 3 out of 3 Dark Hydra, 2 out of 5 Stain the Soul, 3 out of 3 Ascension, 1 out of 1 Lord of Edges, 5 out of 5 Blast Gasp, 1 out of 1 Morheim's Blessing. And on the Spellshot side of things, we're going to go 3 out of 3 on Magic Bullets, 5 out of 5 on Spell Sniper. Do note we only put 1 out of 5 into Prestidigitation, but we're going to get a +4 from one of the items that you're going to aim for. +5 on Font of Mana, 1 out of 1 in Glass Cannon, and then 1 out of 1, which will turn into 2 out of 1 with gear into high threat count. So those are the passives. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the key synergies found in this build. Now, when it comes to buffing up the damage that your pixies are going to do, a lot of it is going to stem from companion damage and spell power damage. So the main component of spell power damage is going to have to do with spell weaving. Now you're going to have 5 base stacks of spell weaving, and then you're going to get 3 more from a high thread count, totaling 8. Now you're going to get stacks of spell weaving whenever you reload or cast a spell. Most of it is going to stack up from reloading. And if you have gear similar to my setup, you're going to get an extra roughly 33.9% or so spell power per stack, and you're going to get up to 8 of that. You're going to want to maintain that at all times. Any of that spell power will also stack with the scaling spell power from Ascension. This is a kill skill, and so you can get up to 10 of these stacks. And so for each stack, it's an extra 6% spell damage. And so that's an extra 60%. All this different spell damage is going to convert to gun damage at a 45% rate. So that's going to help your gun damage if you do choose to use them. Now, the other thing that's a big thing here is your 6 stacks of Faithful Thralls, or rather 6 ranks. 3 are base and 3 are going to be from the armor. So for every companion you have, you do an extra 18% damage. Now, what's important here is that general damage dealt impacts everything. So it's going to impact the damage you do with your guns, and it's also going to buff your companions and your spells. Your pixies do count as spells that get spawned by your guns, so this applies to this as well. You're going to get additional damage stacking from Harvest. So this is 9% per stack, so 18% bonus dark magic damage to your pixies. That's big. Now, because all your companions are now going to be doing dark damage, there's going to be additional synergies anytime you see dark damage buffs. So for example, Dark Pact, dark magic damage is increased by 20%. This is going to buff your fairies. 2 ranks of Stain of the Soul, an additional 8% bonus dark magic damage is applied. And then let's not forget, when you actually go into your Reaper of Bones state, which you're going to be able to keep up for a very long time, this is going to scale with your Graveborn power that you got on your armor piece. So in my case, it's an extra 39.4% bonus dark magic damage. 2 other things of important note here: you're going to be able to get up to 5 Dark Hydras because of the armor that I've chosen here. And then you cannot forget Blast Gasp. Now this can be a little confusing, but you'll notice this says whenever the Fate Maker deals spell damage. Well, the pixies are by association part of your damage because they spawn from your guns, and they are considered to scale with and cause spell damage. So they can proc the Blast Gasp. Okay, so let's talk about weapons. We're going to start with the 3 weapons I like to set up for this. I like to start first with a pixie spawning weapon. So this needs to be a farrier weapon. I recommend a handgun, get one of the highest base damage possible. And when it comes to enchant, we want to go while action skill is active, increase dark magic damage by 50%. Now do note this is again bugged currently. It will last 60 seconds no matter how long the ability lasts. But our build will be nerf proof because once this gets fixed, we will still be in our action skill for 60 seconds or longer on average. So this will be good no matter what. Your second weapon is going to be a Hydra spawning gun, and I recommend it being an SMG. It could be a pistol, but you will then burn through ammo way too quick when you reload. And you're only going to be using this during bosses in hard areas where you want to get some stacks of companions so you can spawn multiple Hydras. This one spawns multi-headed Hydras, which is nice because 3 is better than 1. Why not when it comes to heads? And then finally, you want to get yourself a Masterwork Handbow. You can basically have any gun here, but the goal here is it has a magazine size of 1. And you're going to use this to get your spell thread count up. So every time you shoot, it's going to auto reload, and you're going to get your 11 stacks of spell threads up because those do stack up not only when you cast spells, but also when you reload. Now, when it comes to a melee weapon, I still like the iridescent frying pan of the Remorseless. It can be any version of this frying pan. Main thing here, you're reducing bullet and projectile damage you take from the rare when you're not using it by 90%. And also you're going to reflect up to 15% of incoming bullets from the front when you don't use it. And then of course it's an opportunity for an enchant. And here I choose while action skill is active, increase elemental damage by 35%. Do remember that dark damage is elemental damage in this game. So again, once we have our action skill up, which is going to be most of the time, you'll get an extra 35% damage. When it comes to rings, I recommend the best possible spell damage ring you can get. I actually don't have great spell damage rings. I don't have any great volatile ones yet. What's important is you want the while ward is not full, effects are increased by 100%. That is key because you will basically have no ward at all. You're not going to be able to regen it, and as soon as your ward gets popped once, it's just going to stay at 0. So at all times, it's going to double your spell damage. And then if you have any useful secondary effects, that's great. For me, I have action skill cooldown on here, which I like. When that doubles again, you get 22%. And then dark magic efficiency, again, helps you get more out of each of your healing effects. So these are not bad. Also, anything to do with spell damage, spell crit chance, etc. Can't go wrong if you happen to get anything related to companions, like companion damage. That's pretty solid as well. If, again, you can't get a spell damage version, get a companion damage version. When it comes to shields, you want to get a Cursed Wit. Basically, any type, doesn't matter. I like this one. We don't care about the capacity that much because it's going to be at 0. The big thing here is when your ward is depleted, which will be most of the time, you get 17% damage reduction and 100% extra damage that you're going to deal as long as you're near to enemies. So that's huge. I got a reload speed buff on here when ward is depleted, which is nice. I like that. And then an enchant I like to run is when health is below 50%, regenerate 5% max health per second and gain 30% damage dealt. We actually fall below 50% a decent amount of times because of the way that our action skill works. We're constantly draining life. So this is pretty useful for that, for getting that damage bonus. Now here's a new armor that I'm using. And so again, it has the same legendary effect as far as converting all companion damage to dark magic damage and providing that 20% boost to dark magic damage being done. It has the passives we're looking for in this situation. It's the +3 to Thrall stacks, and also you're going to get +2 Hydras, which isn't bad. We do have the Graveborn power, which is useful. And again, the other effects are very, very powerful. Companion damage, all damage dealt, and the gun damage is just kind of icing on the cake. For Amulet, we do care about the passive here again. When the Fate Maker or Companion kill an enemy, companion damage increased by 20%, 15 seconds. This will stack up pretty quick and give an extra 100% damage. Again, this is a god roll here, pretty much. Increased dark magic damage, increased Spellshot power is huge, and all damage dealt. But again, the most important thing is you're going to want to get Spellshot on this, and you're going to want to get that companion kill passive. And then after that, try and get dark magic damage if you can. Try and get all damage. RNG is going to either help you or not. And finally, when it comes to your spells, we're using Buffmeister because this will impact your fairies as well as your guns. So it's the key here is that we want dark damage, so it scales of all the dark damage buffs we get. And when it comes to the enchant, while action skill is active, increase companion damage by 50%. So it's a perfect synergy with all the other effects we have that our action skill is active related. So gameplay wise, as you see, kind of see in the background, It's pretty straightforward. We want to make sure that we keep our spell thread count at 11. You start that up by using your Masterwork Handbow. And then when you're fighting most enemies, you're just going to be using your main fairy, or pixie rather, summons gun. Your guns actually do pretty good damage because of the fact that you have your spell power turning into weapon damage. But in this video, I really wanted to focus on the pixie damage. So you notice you don't have to use your guns. You can, up to you. And then only swap over to the gun that summons your hydras when you're going against bosses or hard content and you want to get that peak damage. It's actually not even necessary for most of it, but if you really want to push those numbers, that helps you out. You want to get kind of close to enemies. You're going to want to have your shielding down. It can be a little weird to get used to at first, playing with low health sometimes, but you're going to have insane life leech. Now that's everything you need to know about this Pixie Vampire King build. If you did enjoy this content, make sure to like, subscribe. If you want to support the channel to the next level, you can always check out my merch link in the description below. Got lots of cool swag like t-shirts, sweatshirts, etc. with my logo. So if you want to support me and be part of Leroy Gaming Nation here, that's one way you can show your support. Check out our Discord. We're working on improving that on a daily basis and becoming a better place to come if you're into looter shooters and RPGs. And as always, guys, thank you for your supports, your like, your subscriptions, and do check me out at twitch.tv/LeeroyGamingStream. I'm going to be working on picking up more regular streams again when it comes to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and then with the Outriders expansion when that comes out. With that, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.